Okay, there we're kind of looking at new stuff we have coming in. You're going to like this a little better on our radar indication if you're between Panhandle and White Deer. There's our strong radar indication right there. It's what we call a couplet. That shows pretty strong circulation. That's why we have the tornado warning. And it's kind of drifting east, northeast, pretty well paralleling Highway 60 and staying to the north of Highway 60, but in the general direction of White Deer. How's our feed looking coming out of that area? Not seeing that just yet, but we're getting a nice video in and out of that storm, and we'll sure pop in and let you know when we get that reestablished. Coming on down to the south just a little bit. Of course, dry line, all that good stuff. We want to get back to where our thunderstorms are. Here's the one that Alan just reported on, and kind of a new hook echo. That would be in the southern part of Swisher County. If you're in Tulia, just looks like the main part of the storm is probably going to clip you. It'd be down towards Cress and Claytonville that if they get any kind of rotation or stronger rotation, that's where the tornado would be. Happy, that looks like generally just going to be some heavy rain and some lightning coming your way. So backing up a little bit, and there's our Carson County storm. Was still, big old supercell, a lot of hail. Panhandle looks like it's starting to creep past you. So you might start to breathe a little easier, but it's over towards White Deer, Skellytown, and Pampa now that those storms are kind of tracking rotation and hail. A little storm popping up around Fritch. We'll watch that as it moves towards, say, Fritch and Borger. And then coming up a little further to the north, we'll pick up the storm that's prompted the other tornado warning. I got the rotation there. Here we go. This is the one that's back to the west of Perryton, north of Farnsworth. Hook echo right in there, rotation, heading on off to the east towards Perryton. And that purple right in there, that could be where we're seeing some of that golf ball, tennis ball, even baseball size hail. That is moving towards Perryton. So it's kind of a slow go. It's not moving that rapidly, but I think the rain is picking up in Perryton. The hail will likely start to pick up. And once again, we're really monitoring the tornado potential. May have to go to your safe place here pretty soon. Up into Beaver County, Balco, Elmwood, we're tracking those storms as those start to kind of intensify. If you're in the city of Beaver, looks like it's kind of staying down to your south, but again, we'll kind of move out 270 there, Highway 270, moving from Balco, Elmwood, Logan, Slap Out, and then building over towards Roston and Knowles. Very heavy rain. Again, hail, and we have to watch out for that. Any kind of potential rotation would be coming in that way as well. Okay, back to our advisories here. Tornado warning number one there is in Carson County. Watching the picture right there, not seeing any tornado right now. Other tornado warning in the north, and our interceptors up there are kind of repositioning. As far as Amarillo is concerned, we are in a tornado watch until midnight. We don't have any warnings taking place at this time. So what I think we're going to do right now is we'll transition back to programming. But I want to let you know that we are on this like a hawk. And these storms that we're watching, if they start producing tornadoes again, we're going to be on, and we'll do just this right now. We'll have continuous coverage. You can catch us continuously on Facebook also. Just know that we're dedicated to watching all these dangerous areas. Okay. Well, here's the deal. We just got a confirmation that a tornado is confirmed heading towards Perryton. So we're not going anywhere. We're going to stay on right now. In fact, let's go to that stream number one up in the north. And this would be the storm. Our interceptors up there, Alex and Caleb, really having to get into position. But this is the storm. And you can see the base of that. Sheldon, can you see that? Does that look like we got that on the ground? It's kind of a distant shot right now. But we've had a confirmed tornado. This would be our Ochiltree County storm back to the west of Perryton. That's going to be right in here. And I think I just saw the tornado right in there. So our interceptors are watching that really carefully. So this is kind of the southwest part of the storm. Got the updraft there, rain and hail. And if it's coming towards you, you probably won't see the tornado. It's when you get into the base, the updraft area, that the rain and the hail clears out and you can see the tornado. So our intercept crews are right there. If you live in Perryton, we have a tornado west of the city. About how far, Sheldon? You got that? It's about, I'd say, something like 10, 12 miles.
2 miles northeast of Waka.
Okay, 2 miles northeast of Waka is our report. So as our intercept crew there gets positioned to show you that, I'm just going to kind of go to the warning itself. So let's come back to me just momentarily. And here we go. This would be the tornado warning that we're talking about. So it's going to be right in here now. Sheldon just reported that we're talking about storms that are northeast of Waka, about 5 miles. That puts us right in there. That puts us, I'd say, about 3 miles northwest of Farnsworth. And then from Perryton, I'm looking back there, that's probably something like 10 to 12 miles. But now we have a confirmed tornado there. So that changes the whole ball game. And let me show you that on, okay, here's our estimate on radar. Pretty much perfect right there where I have that spinning around. That would be the rotating part. That's where we have had a confirmed tornado. So the motion on that is off to the east. And I believe that's about 20 miles per hour. You want to check on that, Sheldon? So moving pretty much due east. And, well, you see where the arrow is pointing. That puts us towards the city of Perryton. It's got a ways to go. And this thing, they cycle up, they cycle down. The rotation gets stronger, sometimes drops tornadoes. Remember, this started off back to the north of Groover, where we had a couple of tornado touchdowns there. Kind of brief, kind of small, but it's still a very strong supercell, and it's still moving in that same direction. Now it's starting to do the same thing. Got confirmation tornado moving east around 20 miles per hour. So if we do the math there, that puts us around Perryton somewhere about 20, 25 minutes or so. Farnsworth, we need to watch that. Sometimes they kind of deviate a little bit. This one has been holding a pretty straight easterly course. In fact, I'll back up and we'll animate this. And that's pretty much right down the road due east. Baseball hail, but even though that's a big concern, that's not our main concern right now. It would be the rotation and the confirmed tornado just back to the north of Waka now, northwest of Farnsworth, and that's moving to the east towards Perryton. So we'll put a little hold on this right now. We'll continue to track that. Now I need to kind of go down to the south because we have other tornado warnings that we need to kind of track and keep you posted on. This is still a big supercell storm, and this is still rotating there. Looks like just to the east of Panhandle. What's that?
Yeah, they're expecting the tornado warning may reach into Gray County.
Okay, so we have information that the Weather Service is going to go ahead and extend this tornado warning. Remember, we had a brief tornado north of Panhandle. That rotation has moved off a little bit there, still between Panhandle and White Deer, and moving off to the east about 25. Now the Weather Service says we may go ahead and we're going to extend that into Gray County. So now the communities that we're watching carefully are going to be White Deer. I'm looking over to see if we have a new video coming in from that storm. Not quite yet. Okay. Panhandle, White Deer, Scally-Town, maybe on the northern edge there, but I'm really kind of concerned right there around White Deer and Pampa. So you drive Highway 60, where we get those big playa lakes right in there, right before the grain elevator. That's kind of where we are right now. That's where the rotation is. So let's kind of track that. And again, if we look at the velocity, Sheldon, I'm going to have you pick that up there. So remember, when we look at velocity, this is where we actually track the rain. Yeah, get out and just get that new one that you plotted up there. I can kind of see it right there, the red and the green right about there. But go to that new product you had, or actually, yeah, that's pretty good. That's it right there. That's what I'm looking for. This shows very clearly our velocity couplet. So just think about the radar beam coming to Panhandle. That's wind going away, and that's green coming back. So right in that area right there, we know that we got a circulation, pretty strong one right in there too. So earlier we had a tornado north of Panhandle. We had a funnel about halfway to the ground. That was only about 10 or 15 minutes ago. So now it's right in there that we still have that strong rotation. Panhandle, the city, that's good because it's moving away from you. White Deer, not so good because that's coming off to the east. And Sheldon, when you confirm that velocity, how fast that rotation is moving, I'll tell people about that. But I think in White Deer, we really have to watch this one carefully. Down the road, it's Pampa. If we hold intensity, if it stays structured the way it is and continues to rotate, if it's still a tornado threat, that's coming towards Pampa. Okay. So this rotation that we have right here, indications are that it's moving east-northeast about 25 miles per hour. So again, we don't have to do a lot of math there. That's Panhandle to White Deer. That distance is probably what? I think 14 miles, something like that. So that's coming in within the next half hour probably as that moves on off to the east. Still looking for a video. Is that? Okay, let's take a look at that. Let's go to our 806 chase feed, and we'll be able to show you that. Yeah, that's, oh man, there's a grain elevator I told you about. Base of the storm, kind of ragged, but they're watching the wall clouds and Again, sporadic rotations and funnels and even tornado touchdowns. Last report from the Weather Service was that it's tightening up. And coming back to radar right now, let's take a look at this. Says, you know, we may have to watch Gray County. That may be extended in the tornado warning. So hold the thoughts. I'm looking at a lot of monitors here and a lot of our feeds. We're going to go on now and kind of take a look at some other storms, because I know we camp out on those tornado producers, and we should, but there's other storms too. We don't want to neglect anybody. So just know that Happy, yes, it's going to thunder and lightning, it's going to rain. Might even be some small hail there between Happy, maybe up towards the Cemetery Road there, south of Canyon, moving east. A little bit of new development back around Hereford. Some of this may even try to affect Amarillo. That's not the really, gigantic supercell storms, at least not right now. So there's the one around Happy. It's been a while since we revisited this storm, and just know that if you're in Carson County or up there in Hansford and Ochiltree County, I'm coming right back with the latest information on that and the tornado warnings. But we need to check on this one, because that looks like it's holding its own pretty well. We got Alan in there with video and doing a report. So, Alan, you want to give us the latest on what's up down there?
All right, Dave. Well, lightning has really picked up with this storm. In fact, I'll probably be interrupted here by a big rumble of thunder just about any time. We're getting lightning strikes about every 5 to 7 seconds right now. The overall cloud base is still very high. There's no real significant lowering with this. No wall cloud. The base continues to just barely kind of hold its own. But the storm overall looks like it's trying to weaken, or it has another storm to its south that has taken some of its energy. Tornado threat from this particular storm. I'm located just to the west of Cress. Well, I tell you what, does not look like a real big tornado threat with this storm at the moment. But large hail, lightning is by far the most dangerous aspect of this storm at the moment. We're sitting in an area where we do not have any rain and a very clear view of this entire cloud base. We're seeing an interesting cloud base back off to our southwest. But these storms, I tell you what, they're just not hardly moving at all. And with surface winds basically calm where we are, I don't anticipate much of a tornado threat out of this particular storm in the near future. Dave?
All right, Alan, thanks for keeping an eye on that one. Get some new information on this guy now. This is a pretty rapid rotation, and we got reported funnel cloud there. As soon as we get an image of that, we'll let you know. Again, if you're in Panhandle, it's moving away from you. That rotation right there, and let me show you that on our Doppler radar. I mean, there's no question about this. We're looking at very strong rotation right now. This is likely going to be a tornado producer, and it's moving away from Panhandle, but towards White Deer, and tracking just to the north of Highway 60 in Sheldon. I want you to, just as soon as we get a video image, let me know. We'll pop that on for you. But I'm going to recommend folks in White Deer be extra vigilant and ready to dive into your safe room. So if you need to get boxes out of the cellar or off the steps, this is the time to do that. And just a quick review of tornado safety. You're going to be as low as you can. Hopefully you can get down in the basement, or you got a storm cellar. If you don't have that, you want to find the middle of your house, put as many walls between you and the outside as you can, and be thinking about that. If I wanted as many walls between me and the outside, which room would I get in? And it's usually going to be a closet, a bathroom, or maybe a hallway. But low as you can, many walls as you can between you and the outside. Right now, it is time to get out of mobile homes in White Deer. If you live in White Deer or anywhere around Highway 60 there, and you live in a mobile home, it's just time to go. It's time to find a new shelter, get into a permanent structure, brick home, or some better storm. You even have time now, if you're in White Deer or along Highway 60, get out of there and find a direction and drive. I know we don't normally tell people to flee in a car, but we have time, I think, right now, if you're around White Deer or Highway 60, to get out of harm's way. All right, if you're closer to Panhandle, if you're between White Deer and Panhandle, stay put and get in the best location you can, the most protected area you can. This is the time. We talk about tornado safety and having a plan. We do that all the time, but this is the night. This is the night that if you're in White Deer, it's time to execute that plan. I mean, it's hopefully you've practiced it with your family. You get people and you go to your safe spot. Get your shoes on, get a helmet on, get blankets and pillows and mattresses, something to cover up with. Get your weather radio, something with batteries, because we may be losing power up this way. Waiting on pictures that we can show you, but I don't really have to see pictures coming in to know that this radar indication right there is ominous. It's alarming, and I think we have a pretty good chance that we'll get tornado activity, more tornado activity near Highway 60. Again, we've already had touchdowns. Our crews are out there watching very carefully, and that's moving towards White Deer. Okay, I'm going to have to go back to our storm in the north now because we're getting new information. Just to let you know, Panhandle moving away, White Deer is coming towards you, and it's getting closer. So here's the storm up to the north. And the reason I'm going to this is because I've just seen new images coming from our storm intercept crew. My goodness, this one's ominous too. Let's take a look at this. This is from our News Channel 10 intercept crew. So they're right in there, and look at that. Look at that ugly, nasty supercell storm. This one is pretty classic, but look back here to the west. Look at that lowered area. That's a wall cloud. We had earlier had a confirmed tornado. Again, we're estimating about 10, 12 miles west of Perryton, about 5 miles to the north probably of Waka. And you can see right in there, that lowered area right there, that's where tornadoes form. And we may be pretty close to that. So again, we're coming towards Perryton. So let's pick that up on the radar right now, and I'll be able to show you exactly where we are. If you're in Waka, Farnsworth, I think we're looking pretty good. I think that's going to stay to your north. But right in there, and I'll show you that velocity, that same kind of velocity product.
Circulation on the ground on the northern shore.
Okay, well, here we go. Let's go to, if you're in Perryton, pay close attention to this. Let's go to our stream coming in from our northern unit. And take a look at this. Now we've got, that's dust being kicked up quite a bit. And okay, so, I can't really confirm that we got tornado activity right here, but that is, I think we're getting what we call that rear flank downdraft that's wrapping around there. That's about the only way we can get dust blowing that direction. So think about the rain and hail coming down and doing that little circular thing around that mesocyclone. Really, really interesting what's happening right there. And if we get a tornado real quick, we'll be on and I'll show you this, but I'm going to show you something else on radar that's very interesting. Let's come back to that. So we already have what we all have a hook. We call that a hook echo. Now let's pick that up on that velocity. And Sheldon, why don't you go over there and adjust where that rotation is? We still see the green and the red. Think about where it is right now. It has moved east a little bit, and we're going to place a marker exactly where we think that rotation is. Remember, it's that red versus green right there. So now we're back to the west of Perryton by only a few miles. That looks more like 5. It is coming east. I'm going to say the same thing for folks in Perryton. If you live in a mobile home, it's time to get out of that exactly right now. Do not delay. You don't have any time to waste. Everyone else needs to be going to that safe place in your house. And that's going to be, like I said before, underground if you can. If you have a specially built tornado safe room, that's the place to get. If you don't have either one of those, if you can't get in the basement or cellar or that specially designed tornado safe room above ground, you need to be getting to the middle of your house, interior room, put as many walls between you and the outside that you can. All right, be thinking about that. Be thinking about if an outside wall goes, I want another wall between me and the debris blowing around. So find a small room in the middle of your house, no windows, and that's usually going to be a closet, a bathroom, a hallway. And when you go to those places, you want to go ahead and bring pillows, mattresses, blankets. If you have a hard hat or a helmet, put that on, put it on the kids. Make sure you have your shoes on. If you have to get out and there's damage and glass and everything, you want to have your shoes on. So make sure you have those on also. Again, looking kind of ominous there around Perryton. Let's come back to that stream and let me show you that. This is coming from our storm intercept crews up there just back to the west of Perryton. And that's the area, of course, that tornadoes form. We're seeing a lot of dust being kicked up. That may be a tornadic rotation, and trying to see what's right over the road there, Sheldon. It's hard to see. But anyway, just know that we got trained eyes right in there, and they're watching that very carefully. So Perryton, it's time to seek shelter. Okay, like I said, it's one of those nights that it's hard to stay on one storm for very, very long because we have other dangerous storms going on. So let's come back to the radar now. I'm going to go back down. We're going to pick up this guy. Very strong rotation there. Again, moving away from Panhandle. But like I mentioned a few minutes ago, if you're in White Deer, it's time for tornado precautions. That's looking pretty ominous also. Really hoping for a new picture there. Can you refresh that?
We do have a video on the way of the tornado. Real
Okay. All right, so we have some earlier tornado video from up around Groover that we'll get on, but of course we're concerned right now. They're between Panhandle and White Deer. Skellytown, you're going to be in the rain hail part. White Deer, we're looking at this. Okay, I think we can get. Is that current?
Yes, that's correct. That's fine.
Okay, let's take a quick peek from our 806 feed coming in. I just know that's the area that's rotating, and they're watching it carefully. They're really having trouble establishing that stream. Going to show you this, the wind velocity again. There's still no mistaking this. The red versus green, strong rotation, and I think tornadic activity is going to be likely just to the north of Highway 60, kind of parallel in the highway, but in White Deer, it's time to really kick into those tornado precautions. Okay, we'll kind of come back to the storm. I got to go north again. This is a very impressive shot. Let's come back to our stream coming in. That's just to the west of Perryton. There we go. Take a look at that, and that is. I don't know. There's a lot of adjectives you could use right here. I'm going to use like ugly, nasty, threatening, and ominous. That dirt being kicked up, and okay, looks like they are looking kind of up to the north. Are they on what's the highway marker there?
That's 15.
Okay, so they're on Highway 15. Yeah, so they're looking kind of more east towards Perryton, and a lot of dust being thrown up in the air. You know, and really watching back in here. You know, sometimes we get that rear flank downdraft comes down, kicks up dirt. It kind of goes straight. But, you know, the only way we get that is that the hook echo that kind of comes around and kicks that up. So we're really watching right back in there. So that's going to be, looks like just on the north side of Highway 15, and it's moving towards Perryton right now. As I mentioned earlier, if you're in Perryton, you should have kicked in your tornado precaution plan right now. So we're going to watch this. Sheldon's going to tip me off if that really looks tornadic here in just a few minutes. We're also efforting to get another picture in from Carson County, that storm that's northeast of Panhandle or back to the west of White Deer. So, all right, we're coming back to radar. A lot to keep up with. Again, there's our circulation. I think it's moved a little closer to Perryton now, so we'll continue to track that. Here's our southern storm. Still looks like a likely tornado producer, and you know we get reports in and a lot of chatter from the National Weather Service. And Sheldon, you want to just tip me off on the latest that we hear there? The latest on this was you know, sporadic touchdowns when it was north of Panhandle. We've had funnel activity within the last 10 or 15 minutes, and now we still have a strongly rotating storm capable of producing tornadoes. With this kind of rotation, that's still very strong, very tight. And moving to the northeast towards White Deer. Again, got to be out of mobile homes out ahead of this. That strong rotation now, I'd say about 2 to 3 miles north of Highway 60 and about 3 to 4 miles back to the west of White Deer. Kind of moving to the east-northeast. Hopefully it doesn't come right over White Deer, but we sure can't promise that. I'm, again, watching all kinds of monitors for pictures and everything. A dangerous night there around White Deer. And if you're in Pampa, remember, tornado warning probably going to be extended there into Gray County. Has that happened, Sheldon? Are we into Gray County yet?
It doesn't look that way just as of yet. Looks like the warning just barely breaches into the...
Okay, so right now the warning goes pretty much up to the county line. If this continues that indication right there, we're going to have to include Pampa and Gray County, or the Weather Service will include that in their warning. So I'm still tracking other storms. Those two likely tornado candidates. Now the storm south of Tulia is looking stronger. This is going to be down around Crest or just south of Crest. Let's get a report from Alan because he's down there watching this one. This one could start to rotate as well, and we'll track that for you. So, Alan, give us an indication of what we can expect down there south of Tulia.
Well, right now, Dave, we're actually getting in a little bit of light right now. We've seen some pea-sized hail, nothing real significant. The lightning with this storm is very impressive. It has made myself and James jump more than once with how close it's been striking and the intensity of the thunder. But at the moment, we're not seeing any kind of lowering. It is now, the base is now starting to move right over I-27 just to the west of Cress. That's where we are. We are just to the west of Cress, about maybe a quarter of a mile west of I-27. and not seeing a lot of real impressive movement with the cloud base. No lowerings at the moment, but it does, like you said, on radar, look like it's starting to intensify just a little bit. So we're in good position. If this thing gets any stronger or starts to show any tornadic tendencies, we'll be right here to pass that along. Looks like the storms to the south of it kind of holding their own at the same time. And I think the one thing that's really kind of holding this storm back is we don't have any wind here at the surface. It is a flat calm, and that's about, I think, one of the main ingredients that we're needing. If we had a 20 to 30 mile an hour south wind, I think this storm would be behaving very differently. But at the moment, it is just kind of drifting off towards the east. Dave?
Okay, thanks, Alan. I want to get down to your storm here. I've got a little update. It was looking a little more ominous there. Again, you can almost see a little bit of rotation in that radar echo also. But, man, I imagine you're about to report some hail, Alan, because that hail intensity is picking up. That's going to cross I-27, south of Tulia, near Crest. But I wanted to do the same thing we're doing with the other storms and look at that wind velocity. And, some indications of maybe a broad rotation down there around Crest. So I know Alan's going to keep close tabs on that for us, and we'll kind of work our way back up and pick up these latest storms. Still got that strong rotation, probably a little further east now, right there just west of White Deer, just west probably 2.5 miles now. And we have recommended that folks in White Deer be in their safe place, being watching carefully, certainly out of mobile homes. And if you're, you know where you live. If you're up in that area, you should have long evacuated. But if you're anywhere north of Highway 60, definitely kick in those tornado plans. Where are we?
We have 806.
Okay. We've got a video coming in. Our 806 storm chase team, right in there. Okay, that's the base of the storm. Looks like just beyond White Deer. Or I'm sorry, between Panhandle and White Deer. Good to see that we don't have a tornado on the ground there, but remember that rotation is strong. These things cycle quickly, and that could once again be a tornado producer very soon. Now I'm going to come back up to the storm in the north. Let's pick that up on radar. And I've got the rotation. Again, Perryton, that looks pretty ominous. And I want to show you some video from earlier. This was when the storm was back here, just to the north of Groover. We do have a tornado video, if we can pull that up. This was from Tim Glass, storm spotter up that way. And there's one of the tornadoes that touched down, got that debris cloud on the bottom down there, funnel sticking down. So this is the history of that storm near Perryton. It's been doing that. Had a couple of touchdowns. We had our own crew that was streaming that back. So you can see, that's kind of what it looked like when our storm intercept crew up there was tracking that. So just know that this is the real deal. This is a tornadic situation tonight, and we have about 3 candidates in the area that are doing this. So let's come back to radar and this storm right now. Let me take a current feed of this. This is our storm intercept crew, Alex and Caleb up there. And this is what they're seeing now. So Highway 15 now, just back to the west of Perryton. Again, classic supercell structure. We did have a confirmed tornado not too long ago, say within the last half hour, west of Perryton, moving to the east. That's why we're pretty concerned about it.
East 25 miles an hour.
Yeah, we're getting velocity on this is east at about 25 miles per hour. Let's come to radar. And here's why that is that's very important right now. If that's moving east at about 25, that puts us into Perryton here in about 10 minutes. So Perryton, as I mentioned earlier, this is a time that you need to be in your safe place, out of mobile homes into a better structure, below ground if you can. We're just being cautious, even though we're not looking at a current tornado. This is one that could produce, and it wouldn't surprise me at all. It's have the history of doing that since back north of Groover. North of Groover, north of Waka, that rotation is still there. In fact, it's right there, about 2 miles west of Perryton, about to come on in. So that's the time to execute your safety plan. We've seen already tonight, and I think we got good evidence of how fast we go from, hey, that's just a radar-indicated tornado, to something on the ground. I mean, that happens within minutes. So that's why we don't have time to waste. We can't really say, well, this may stay radar-indicated. We don't know. We just don't know. If a tornado drops, it'll do that pretty rapidly, and that could be right over town. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's a possibility. So if you're in Perryton, this is the time to be executing that safety plan. I'll come back to the images, and it looks like we've got a low-hanging wall cloud there. We'll come back to that. But as I mentioned, on a night like tonight, there's so many storms going on that, you know, we don't want anybody to be neglected. So I'm going to back up and just go through the whole rigmarole here. Tornado watch from about Liberal to Amarillo to Hereford down to the New Mexico border. That means in this whole area, this is where conditions are favorable for strong storms, rotating storms, tornadoes, like we've seen tonight. The red boxes, those are our 2 current tornado warnings. Looks like we have gone into Gray County there by a little bit. Severe thunderstorm warning there. That's going to be for, looks like, Lipscomb County and Beaver County. And then the storm that Allen's on, severe thunderstorm warning down that way. Again, tornado warning, Ochiltree County up to Perryton. Okay, it hasn't extended past Highway 83 yet. Other tornado warning. Okay, it's, you know, the one that started north of Panhandle. Now it's closing in on White Deer and Scullytown. But the warning goes all the way into parts of Gray and even a little chunk of Roberts County. Pampa, like I've been saying, you need to be on standby. Amarillo, not a threat of severe weather at the moment, but that could change also. Here we go. Here's our Perryton storm. Let's take a look at our video feed coming in from our storm intercept crew. I'm telling you, that still looks, you know, pretty impressive, pretty ominous. I mean, that is where tornadoes would occur. And if you notice there, if you live around, you know, Perryton, we're just back to the west now, and you'll notice, you know, the grain elevator stuff there. You'll know exactly where that is. And I'm looking ahead down the road, and you can start to see Perryton in there. So this is still an impressive storm. There is a tornado warning on it. And, you know, we see the area that if we do get another tornado, it's going to be right there. So our intercept crew is just staying right there. Bird's eye view. You'll be able to see development if it happens. We will too. That's what I love about this. We got a lot of equipment and technology. We got our eyes out there. That's what we call a first alert team effort. And our northern crew watching real carefully. This thing has really been impressive. History of tornadoes, history of baseball-size hail. So it's kind of a top caliber kind of supercell storm. Again, moving towards Perryton right there. If you're in Perryton, safe spot right now. Okay, coming back to radar, we'll put that into motion. The rain and hail already in Perryton, but it's that rotating area right there that is, you know, if there's going to be a tornado, it's now just a mile or two west, or maybe west-southwest, and pretty much due west of Perryton, moving off to the east. So we're in contact with our intercept crew. Sheldon's talking to them.
We got Allen and them are in hail on I-27.
Okay. So just knowing you're Perryton, we're watching this like a hawk. We're not going to let anything slip up on you, but you should already be in your safe place for hail and tornadoes. Same thing for White Deer, and just back to the northwest of White Deer. You know, it could be looking at tennis ball hail and a rotation there just north of White Deer. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's take a look from our 806 feed. They're looking right in there. So, wow. So if you're in White Deer, this is close. They're doing the same thing. If there's a tornado, we're going to see it automatically, and you'll know. But you should be in your safe place in case that happens. But got a report now of Allen. Allen, trying to get to you, buddy. There's so much going on. South of Tulia, Allen's right here. Give us a report, see what's happening down there on I-27.
Now we're about 3 miles north of Cress on I-27, and we actually have some hail up to the size of ping pong balls falling on us. Most of it's quartered, but I do see some ping pong ball hailstones laying on the ground. It's not very intense at the moment. I imagine it was a little bit earlier. The main hail core is now starting to move east of I-27. But yeah, that hail core, it definitely increased, and the coverage of it was obviously getting a lot heavier with the ping pong ball and quarter-size hail. That's about the biggest I've seen so far. Started to see indications of a little lowering. We're going to see if we can head back to the east and see if this thing's trying to develop a wall cloud. Dave?
Okay, Allen's down on this storm right here. You heard about his hail. Heard some of that hitting the Weather Atlas, which is due a new windshield, but that's for another day. This is going to move. Again, let me kind of zoom in on this. You know, sometimes our smaller communities don't always show up on the radar. Cress, we haven't neglected you. We know where you are. And that hail is staying just north of Cress and moving across I-27. If you're in Tulia, that hail will stay down to your south. If you're Claytonville, we'll have to watch for that. But that's going to move east. Silverton, McKenzie, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that for you, and I'll zoom out just a little bit now. One thing we haven't really talked about too much lately is Amarillo. And let's see, let me zoom. Got my fat fingers working the wrong way here. Okay, for Amarillo, I'll just have to pick it up on this other screen. Just know we don't have a threat for Amarillo right now, and we'll get that. There we go. Everything has moved away. But I mean, you see a lot of clouds in the distance, kind of like the other night when we had all the Mamadas clouds. We can have distant severe storms, but nothing in Amarillo. Okay, let's revisit this one just to the west of White Deer. We have a pretty impressive feed coming in from our 806 team, and take a look at that. I mean, that's not what you want to see coming at you. Not a tornado on the ground, but that is almost dragging the ground right there, that wall cloud. So, that's pretty impressive. And I'll be able to show you again on radar exactly where that is. Wow, look at that. And Weather Service is verifying that the rotation is really tightening up. So hold this shot, Director, and let's come to radar. We'll come back to it. Man, that's getting lower. Here we are. That's where our rotation is. Again, in Panhandle, the city of Panhandle moving away. White Deer, it's taking its time. I know it's painful to watch. Just slowly watch this thing slowly come at you. But right now, I still think that rotation is staying just to the north of Highway 60, but going to be real close for White Deer. So let's get back to that video image. This is a live feed coming in. That's our northern storm. Again, we got 3 storms that are really getting after it with severe weather and tornado potential. So this is live. Again, this is our 806 feed, our partnership with them, and they do such a good job being out there in there also. Okay, so coming into White Deer there, I see the structures. They're on Highway 60, and it's just back to the northwest there. That's the wall cloud area, and I'm not getting reports of funnel or a tornado on the ground, but certainly the area to watch. And like I said, it's reassuring to have all of our resources and our tools just allocated on a night like tonight, first alert night with tornado potential, and a lot of property and lives being threatened. And we're not on to frighten. We're on to just provide information, because it's hard when you're in a city and it's clouded over and there's rain and there's hail and the tornado sirens go off to know exactly what's going on. So that's what we're going to do here, is just provide that information so you can make your plans and know when to seek shelter and know when you're safe. So this is, again, our partnership 806 Chasers wall cloud, and an impressive one there. That looks like just northeast of White Deer. So that's storm 1, and I'll show you that on radar once again. If we come back to that, you'll see right there that rotation. This storm has a history of some tornadoes when it was back north of Panhandle. Kind of hard to believe, just at a snail's pace, it's moving east. Pampa, though, we're not going to let our guard down, because if it holds together or redevelops or re-intensifies, then we have it coming into your backyard. So let's start to look at some of the other storms now. We'll bring you up to the north. Again, Skellytown, you're in that heavy rain. Pampa, you're starting to get into that. Okay, here's our other storm, and Perryton pretty much on you now. So again, large hail is likely, and if I get a report of that, I'll let you know. You'll know, but it has the potential of golf ball to tennis ball. Earlier, it was like baseballs out here when it was northeast of Groover. I showed you that video just a few moments ago of an actual tornado when it was north of Groover. But in Perryton, yes, let's use our tornado plan, even though we don't have a confirmed tornado. It is rotating. We have a tornado warning now that's going all the way into Lipscomb County now. So down the road, Perryton, let me zoom in on this here a little bit. And, okay. So from Perryton, okay, there's Booker down the road. And then, of course, we'll have Darrozette. So just kind of going out, projecting out where this storm is going on. Booker, and then down to Darrozette. You're already in the rain, but you're not in the supercell storm right now. You're just in a good old heavy thunderstorm. Not to minimize that, but here's the dangerous part. Let's take a look from our storm intercept crew up there. And they've been shooting some really good video. That's the Perryton storm. Pretty much over Perryton right now. Again, hail is likely. Very heavy rain is likely, maybe even some flooding, but of course our main concern is going to be with that rotation, and we continue to watch that. Sheldon, you want to go adjust this? And by the way, I'm keeping a close watch for you folks at White Deer on that other video stream into the wall cloud area. But we're looking right now at a storm there that's around Perryton. You may have to, okay, yeah, go back to the other section that you had. Sometimes you're right on the in between which radar. So I think we can. That's probably pretty good right there. If you want to come back to radar real quick, and I'll show you. Okay, look at that. That's the rotation area, pretty much right smack dab over Perryton. So everybody in Perryton needs to be in shelter. You know, we're not confirming a tornado, but it's the tornado warning, and this is why we have that warning. Rotation on radar, history of tornadoes. We're just being extra cautious to get people in shelter in case we do drop another tornado. And with the history that this storm has had, we're not taking it lightly. I would want to know at my house if that rotation was right over my house. I'm sure the sirens have blown in Perryton, weather radios going off and everything. Let's take a quick peek at our storm intercept feed coming in from that. And there we go. Again, we're looking right where a tornado would be. And we have had earlier tornadoes, but right over Perryton right now, at the current time, there's not a tornado on the ground. Good. So stay tuned for more on that. Really having to keep up with the 3 massive storms now. Let's come to our radar, our super Doppler, and here we go. There's supercell number 2 with the history of tornadoes. It started near Panhandle. It has moved over. Now it's just back to the northwest of White Deer. It looks like it may have picked up a little steam. It's the rain is starting to clear at Skellytown, but it's starting to move into Pampa. So Pampa, what's going to happen here over the next 30 minutes is that rain will be pretty steady. It'll probably intensify, probably start to get into some hail. Earlier it had tennis ball size hail and a drop tornado. So let's pick that one up on our rotation here. And doesn't look quite as ominous. This is good. But right there, just back to the northwest of White Deer. And let's go into our 806 storm chaser feed. And you'll be able to see this is what it looks like. That's still very low hanging. That's a live shot there from our 806 storm chasers. And, funnel looking shape. I'm not looking at a real rapid rotation, but they're going to let us know if in fact that happens. So what we have is a couple of storms just on the borderline of producing tornadoes. Okay, this time I do see a little rotation. If you watch these clouds, okay, they're going that way. Now watch these clouds. They're kind of coming this way. So we do have what we would call a slow rotation, rotating wall cloud. You can kind of see it a little bit better if we kind of linger on that for a few minutes. And where we are is that they have just gone through White Deer looking up to the north. So this is good news in the community of White Deer. It's not good news if you live north of Highway 60 in Carson County. So rotating wall cloud with a history of tornadic activity, and they are right on it. So we're going to watch that carefully, and Sheldon will tip me off if that looks good. But I really need to alert people as to where this is. Again, we got rotation there. There's no doubt about that. That's why we have a tornado warning in Carson County. Let's pick it up on radar. And we've been tracking this one for a long time also. There's White Deer, so yes, starting to breathe a little easier for White Deer, but unfortunately now, if it holds that intensity or if it cycles back up, now it's a threat more to Pampa. So the tornado warning does go into Gray County, just letting you know that. So we're tracking that very carefully. History of tornadoes, nothing on the ground right now, but a pretty impressive shot there from our 806 intercept crew. So I'll say the same thing for our friends over in Pampa. It's time to be out of mobile homes, no matter what, into better shelter. You find something nearby, better structure. It's also, if you're in Pampa, to be considering going into your safety plan. That would be your safe room if you're above ground. It would be below ground if you don't have one, basement or storm cellar. If you don't have one of those, I'd still want to stay put, stay in your house. I mean, the worst danger on nights like tonight are people getting out saying, I need to go drive somewhere better. That's not the case, because that's when you get vulnerable, you get exposed to wind and debris and hail and everything like that, traffic jams, and what are you going to do? You can be a sitting duck. So don't drive anywhere. But if you need to get into the middle part of your house, I've seen a lot of tornado damage. I've been to tornado damage paths like Moore, Oklahoma, where everything is wiped out. 99% of people survive, even in their homes, if they stay put. Most of the fatalities are people outside or in a car trying to flee. So remember that. We don't even have a confirmed tornado on the ground. So go to your inner room in your house, interior room. bathroom, closet, hallway with as many walls between you and the outside. Get the helmets on. Get blankets, pillows, mattresses. Get under those. Get the kids under those. Take a snack in there. Get your shoes on, just in case you have to come out and there's damage.
Get reports of major rotation near Perryton.
Okay, major rotation up near Perryton. We'll go to that. And Alan, I know you're down on that hailstorm. Believe it or not, that's the lower priority is that hailstorm down there. So here we go. Okay, here's Perryton. Reports of a pretty strong rotation. And Sheldon, I'll have you adjust that a little bit, pretty much right over the town. So strong rotation. Again, nothing confirmed on either our video feed or from spotters or from the National Weather Service of a tornado in progress. But it is a strong rotation. Let's take that video stream from our intercept crew up there to the north. And there we go. Oh, man, I bet if you're in Perryton, I bet we're getting some hail. And Sheldon, let me know about that if we get reports of that. But there's the base. And then looking back into very heavy rain. Supercell storm all the way. History of tornadoes, history of rotations and funnels. And we're still watching that very carefully. So if you're in Perryton, remain in your safe room at this time. And I'll show you that one more time on radar. We've adjusted. Yeah, there's the rotation. I mean, that's ground zero. That's bullseye right over Perryton right now. So hopefully it's going to go ahead and pass by the town without dropping one. Sure can't guarantee that. So, okay. As we expected, and of course it's not rocket science, you see a radar indication like that, 2.5-inch hail, it's baseball-size hail in Perryton. So as I mentioned earlier, if nothing else, destructive hailstorm with tornado potential. That's reason to be in your safe room, in your safe place, underground. I mean, we can be getting broken windows. In fact, I think the hail may have cycled up a little bit. So we're looking at baseball hail at Perryton right now with tornado potential. Let me show you this picture coming in from our storm intercept crew. Can you see that? I mean, that's just snow white. And, that's where we're getting the baseball-size hail. Fortunately, our intercept crew is staying out of that. That would be pretty treacherous to be driving into. Unfortunately, it's falling on a lot of our friends and our residents up in Perryton. I'm afraid we're just going to have a destructive hailstorm. And there's nothing we can do about that except be in your safe place. So, looks like destructive hail. It's been dropping baseballs since it was north of Groover. Now it's right over Perryton and not moving very fast. So, in this situation, destructive hail we just can't avoid it. But you do need to stay in your safe room. If nothing else, broken windows, and it still is a tornado candidate. The rotation is still there, and it's still pretty strong. Coming back to radar, right there, green and red, it's textbook. Rotating supercell, and you're getting everything that a supercell can produce. Large hail, tornado potential, and moving on off to the east. So stay in your safe room if you're in Perryton, but remember, we don't just want to focus on Perryton. I've been doing that just because that's where the large hail is now. If I come in for a closer look, we'll take a look. Remember, Booker, you're next. I mean, I don't want to sound threatening, but we have to be prepared. We have to prepare accordingly. Let's go back to that video stream just because it's so impressive from our intercept crews there. And again, look at the snow white from that video stream on our northern chase crew. I know there's a rainbow in there, but we're focusing on that hail, and I see it spreading out. Sometimes that can indicate strong straight winds. So we might have some wind-driven baseball hail, which is just a treacherous combination in Perryton with that tornado threat. Okay, back to radar. Again, Perryton, you're getting it. I'd say if you can hang in there about 10 minutes, probably going to be out of your community, but moving east. So, following the highway up to Booker, that hail looks like it's kind of extending out there. We really hope it cycles down and weakens and doesn't rotate anymore, but it doesn't show signs of letting up just yet. So if you're in Booker next, I would say the same thing. You need to be out of mobile homes. You've got time to plan on this. Out of mobile homes and execute your safety plan tonight. They'll probably blow the sirens if they haven't done so already. Tornado warning is in Ochiltree County, but extends over into Lipscomb County. Darrowsett, I'm going to put you on deck in case we continue that track. You can extrapolate that right there, and the hail threat, and if we get a tornado threat and it stays alive, Booker and Darrowsett, you are next. Okay, so as bad as it is in Perryton with devastating hail and the tornado threat, we got to cover everybody. So let's get down to our other storm. That's this guy. Again, we're breathing a lot easier in White Deer now. But now it's, and Skellytown too, looks like the rain and hail has moved out. This one has history, golf ball to tennis ball hail. It looks like that hail core may have shrunk a little bit, but it is approaching Pampa. And as I told you earlier, what I expected in Pampa was for the rain to intensify, and then we start to get into some of that hail. So, the hail core is right there, tracking it just north of Highway 60. So hopefully that stays out of Pampa, but I can't guarantee that. Highway 70 going north from Pampa, that's kind of where we're concerned about both the hail and the rotation. So let me get the latest on that. And we're still seeing kind of a rotation. Notice it's not as tight, or actually it is. It is pretty tight there, northeast of White Deer and moving towards Pampa. So we just can't decrease the tornado threat yet if you're either on Highway 60 or around Pampa. We need to adjust that marker, which we'll do. Okay, the southern storm, and here's where Allen is, had some pretty large size hail around Cress. Now that's moving off to the east. North of Claytonville, looks like it may stay south of McKenzie, but the track on this shows a little bit of weakening as it heads out towards McKenzie. I'll come down to the south though, and this area I'm really concerned about flooding. That's Muleshoe to Lasbuddy, because I was down here 48 hours ago with torrential rain. I mean, we had 3, 4, 5 inches of rain. The farm fields, when I saw them, were like lakes, and a lot of this rain is coming over that same location. So from Lasbuddy down to Muleshoe, that's heavy rain, maybe quarter-size hail, but going right down Highway 70. Notice Olton, that was one of those 3 to 4 inch reports, and it's still raining there. Let me back that off just a little bit, and okay, having trouble with that. Okay, so down, say, Olton to Edmondson to Plainview. Those are very waterlogged, saturated areas, and travel is going to be discouraged just because we might have a lot of runoff. A little new activity around dawn. So if you're wondering about Amarillo, again, we might see something redevelop and come towards us. I'll back up a little bit here, and we'll try to pick some of that up. So here's Amarillo. Everything has been pretty much off to the northeast so far. Just know that we're not letting our guard down. Down to our southwest, there is some redevelopment, just not of the severe caliber. Okay, looking at some other streams now and checking on the latest. Sheldon, anything new to report anywhere?
They've put a severe thunderstorm warning out on that storm, kind of going into Gray County. That storm is outflow dominant.
Okay, Gray County, new severe thunderstorm warning, but I just looked at the stream coming from our 806 chasers, and that's, again, going to be our storm right there on Highway 60. Still a little bit of hook. Take a look at this video coming in from them, and man, you don't have to use your imagination too much to, call that a funnel-like appendage. I haven't been able to just sit back and study that, but it looks like we do have a slow rotation there, rotating wall cloud. Highway 60, northeast of White Deer, and not too far from Kings Mill and Pampa. Let me zero in on this also. Okay, there we go. You can see, let's go back to radar, and we'll come back to this shot right here. Back to our radar right now, and okay, there we go. Okay, so it's zipping northeast of White Deer there, and getting a little closer to Pampa. See right there, and of course Kings Mill right about there. So that's where the rotation is. That's that wall cloud we looked at, and I think that's still looking pretty good. Let's go back to the wall cloud shot from 806. Again, I mean, that's, if there's going to be a tornado and it drops down, that's where it's going to be, and Pampa is just right down the road there. So just watching that carefully. Just know if you're in Pampa, I recommended earlier, you need to go ahead and be in your safe shelter. If nothing else, like we saw up there at Perryton, we can get into some devastating hail, windows can break, and tornadoes can drop pretty quickly. So that's again, live shot, Highway 60, just to the northeast of White Deer, out closer to Kings Mill, and approaching Pampa. So that's not what I like to see. You look at this circular base right there. I mean, that shows we have a rotating supercell base with a history of dropping tornadoes. We had them back to the north of Panhandle, a big old funnel earlier when it was north of White Deer. And now we have this, which is exactly where we look at for tornado rotation and formation. So our 806 team, they're on it. But if you live in Pampa and you're getting rained on and it's hard to see, just know the core of the storm, the rotation part, is still advancing towards the city, especially the north side of the city. So we got that right there, the sun kind of hitting that, and we're watching that very carefully. So if we can, please, let's come back to our radar. Yep, there we go. So if you're in Pampa, you're getting rained on, thunder and lightning, you might, if you looked up at the sky going, I don't really see that rotation that they're talking about, that's because it's not there yet. It's back there on that southwest corner. So it still has a ways to go before it gets to Pampa. And it looks like it's making a beeline in there. So we do have a tornado warning for Pampa. You do need to be in your safe shelter. We are watching that rotating wall cloud, and it could definitely produce a tornado. So I'm going to show you the wind field again. Yep, here we go. That's right there. Pretty much, that is just north of Highway 60. So think about what this looks like on radar. And let's come back to our 806 team stream, our video. Does that make sense? That is right on Highway 60 now. So it's actually kind of drifted south a little bit, and the rotation now is right over the highway. Yeah, and you don't have any trouble picking that out. You see kind of a slow rotation configuration in there. And what tends to happen with these is the rotation, what we call spins up, has a tendency to tighten and get stronger. The analogy we use is like a figure skater that starts off spinning, and when the figure skater brings his or her arms in, it starts to go faster. So that's what happens with a rotating updraft. When it tightens up and gets smaller, it goes faster. And sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. It does look like this one may be in the process of kind of doing that spin up thing. So if you're southwest of Pampa, that's Highway 60. You know where that next grain elevator is, Kingsmill, and coming towards Pampa. That's exactly what we're looking at right there. So that's it's a wonderful play-by-play live video feed that we can use to let you know exactly what's going on. We do know that all the elements are there for a tornado, and that's why we have a tornado warning. It's showing up visually, it's showing up on radar, and that's why we've advised people from Kingsville to Pampa to go ahead and use your tornado safety plan. They have dropped the tornado warning? Okay. At least momentarily for the Gray County storm, this one, the drop in the tornado warning, we'll see if that gets extended or reissued. Sometimes it's just kind of semantics. Anything else associated with that? Or why?
Associated with that storm, no particular comments on that. They are continuing this tornado warning up north for Ogletree.
Okay. Pampa, we're not forgetting about you. We're going to go north, though. And we're going to take a look at that storm that's still producing the tornado warning that's up in Ogletree County. Going the wrong way here. So bear with me just a little bit. We'll go back and here we go. Okay, we're getting all kinds of good imagery in. First alert weather event, don't have to remind you that. The whole team is out, either in the field or assisting me here in the studio. So let me show this graphic real quick. This is the tornado watch. So we're down to this tornado warning. Don't get me wrong, if you're around Pampa, I'm still kind of intrigued, if nothing else. Intrigued and concerned about tornado potential there. But we still have a tornado warning. This has been going a long time. From Hansford into Ogletree County, started off northwest of Groover, history of tornadoes and that baseball hail we keep talking about. We still have this tornado warning. Looks like we're shifting it east of Perryton now. So, it's been a while since we looked at radar there. I'll be able to do that. For Pampa, the tornado warning, for the moment anyway, has been discontinued, but it is a severe thunderstorm warning. Destructive hail is still likely. On radar, here we go. The hail has moved away from Perryton. Now it's going to be close to Booker and approaching Darrozette. We'll just have to kind of watch the intensity and the cycle. New storms are developing. Farnsworth to Waka, that's not unusual. Those will be coming into Perryton, but unless it really takes off, I don't think it's going to be a tornado threat. So now it's going to be Perryton Highway 15 out there. Booker and Darrozette, we're going to watch for that hail and the rotation. So, yeah, we're still getting that. It looks like it's weakened a little bit. That's good, and it's shifted off a little more right here. So Perryton, I'm starting to breathe easier for you also. Less of a rotation. The hail has moved out. It looked like it was a pretty impressive, pretty incredible, pretty destructive hail storm with baseball hail in the city of Perryton. But, we're going to watch that. A couple of rotations there, but the main one is off to the east of Perryton. Down to the south. Okay, here we go. There's the storm. Pampa, you're still getting rain. The hail probably abating a little bit. Skellytown and White Deer looking really good. LaFour is looking good for you. But now it's going to be probably Pampa and north of there on Highway 70. We're still tracking the heavy rain. We're still tracking the hail. And Pampa, just like we saw that drift south a little bit. If that happens, we got that rotation back over the city. But good news that we're not, looking at a tornado in Pampa right now. Further south, this is some rain that's come up from Happy. It's over 287 now between Claude and Goodnight. If you compare those two storms, it's not quite the same magnitude, but heavy rain and small hail. So Goodnight, and looks like that may build up towards Groom and Allen Reed on I-40. So we'll track that. It wouldn't take much for that to intensify also. Get another supercell going. Just know that we're watching them all. And we're trying to keep everybody covered.
There's been some law enforcement reported damage in Perryton. No specific details as of yet.
Okay, so again, we're not surprised. We're getting reports of law enforcement reporting damage in Perryton, which we tracked baseball hail in there and a strong rotation. Nobody's surprised there. So here's the storm south that Alan's been tracking, and I think we can pretty well write this one off as far as severe intensity as it moves east of I-27 out towards McKenzie, Silverton. Going to be rain, going to be thunder and lightning there, but doesn't look too bad. That activity we had around Dawn and Umbarger, it's decreasing as it approaches Canyon. So no major threat for Amarillo right now. But look at this. Here's that next squall. This is severe coming out of Lasbuddy. It's moving northeast towards Dimmitt. So Dimmitt and Sunnyside, we have to watch that. That could be a hail producer. And also down at Olton to Edmondson and Plainview. That'll be heavy rain flood potential down there just because it is so saturated. So, if that holds again, we might have round two come out of Hart and Nazareth over towards Tulia. So imagine Allen really has his eye on that. And we'll be tracking that. Yeah, it looks like it's heading towards Dimmitt, and that's where Allen is headed. So we'll have that covered in Castro County here for you really soon. Again, for Amarillo, the metro area, we're looking pretty good. Storms continued. Here's Amarillo. Everything kind of staying south. We had that brief rain. We had the brief severe weather on the east side of town. That's tracked away. And right now we don't have any major threats for the metro area. So I'm going to back her up a little bit. Okay, that says Bushland, but let's take that stream from our 806 chase crew is what that is. Let's pull that up. It'll be the other one. The one that I'm... This is it. That's the one I want, but it's... Okay, it is. Too many TV screens. My apologies. Okay, a lot to keep track of, and my apologies. But Director, you're doing great. That was me. Okay, so we still have this rotating wall cloud, but I think on radar the intensity's down. The Weather Service said, okay, we're going to watch that for a little while, see if that rotation gets stronger. But that's the one close to Pampa. I see Pampa in the distance, so still got some heavy rain and everything there. It's just not a real fast rotation and not real concerned about tornado yet. But it is pretty impressive looking. Okay, we'll come off of that now, and let's get to our warnings and our watches on this first alert night. Tornado watch, that continues until midnight. Even after these storms move east, we may see some redevelopment. It's one of those nights that, we're just pot of coffee on. We have to watch it for a long time because conditions are there for severe weather. We do have a tornado warning, and as long as we have a tornado warning, I'm going to stay on the air with our team coverage and let you know what's happening out there so that you can make your minute-by-minute plans and know when to seek shelter, know when not to. That's just what we do. We kind of treat every town in our area the same. We're all family. Just know that the night that a tornado is coming at you or a supercell storm is bearing down on you, we're going to be on to cover it. Might blow your TV plans for the night. It's something that we do. I mean, people rely on us for information, and that's why we do. That's why we go into first alert. The best way to get information is right here. I know you have phone apps. You got your own radar. You have maybe your own spotter network or whatever. But the best way is to get it all together as a team and get that information out. So that's what we're doing. I'm showing you the warnings, showing the radar. We're going to those video streams. We're getting our reports in via spotters and law enforcement. And we're just going to flood you with that information here tonight. So tornado warning right now is that one. And it's going to be in the northeast part of Ochiltree County. Notice, Perryton, you're out of it. So thank the Lord. Hallelujah. It's gone by. But it left its mark with that baseball hail and that tornado threat. I mean, everybody on edge there in Perryton, it's looking better. If you're out towards Booker, okay, we're still watching that. Notice this, we also have a severe thunderstorm warning there in Beaver County, northern Lipscomb County. That's where we still have a rain and hail threat along 270, but not so much the tornado threat. So again, that's the only tornado warning. Down in Pampa, we still have a severe thunderstorm warning for Gray County now and the southern part of Roberts County. So moving out of White Deer, out of Skellytown, along Highway 60 and north of there, Pampa to Miami. That's where that severe thunderstorm warning is. There we go. Man, that looks so much better for Perryton. It really looks so much better for everybody. It doesn't look like the storm is quite as organized. Still looks like a cell merger there, and the risk of maybe some more rotation. Let's take that stream coming in from our intercept crew up to the north. Remember, they've showed us a lot tonight. A couple tornado touchdowns there when it was to the north of Groover, funnel when it was back to the west of Perryton, and then that baseball hail. So they're moving east there, trying to catch that storm heading towards Booker, but we're not seeing that dramatic imagery that we did just a little while ago. So knock on wood, hopefully that continues. But come back to radar, and again, let's see if I can zoom in on this. Sometimes the radar does the opposite of what I tell it to. So tell you what, I'm going to do this. Sheldon, you want to get out of the program, and we're going to go for our friends in Booker. We'll just slide that over there. Let's take a look at Booker, just because it's the same storm. There we go. Okay, so from Perryton off to the east of there, right about in there. That's where we want to go for a close-up. I do see that little spin, on the radar. Just zero in on that. Come in close on that. There you go. Okay, so we're going to come in closer, and Booker right there. When I see that little twist, it has me concerned a little bit. Not imminently, but we still have rotation in that storm. The hail core that produced baseball-sized hail, that has reduced, so I think we may be cycling down a little bit. Not that we can guarantee that trend will continue, but as this comes into Booker, I still expect that heavy rain that you've been in to continue. Darrozette, we're watching, you're just kind of in that moderate heavy rain, a lot of lightning. The wind will get up. The core of the storm right there, approaching Booker, and maybe just south of there, quarter to golf balls, still wouldn't surprise me, but probably not that massive hail that Perryton took. And right now, the rotation is coming down. So I'm going to wait for Sheldon to kind of tip me off on the latest word coming in from the Weather Service there about that tornado warning. They're holding it for the time being. Okay. Yeah, we're getting some wind gusts. Yeah, I'm seeing some wind gusts around Perryton, upward around 50 miles per hour. So, as that big old hail core collapses, sometimes that puts out straight wind. And we may see 50 to 60 out there, Booker to Darrozette. Beaver County, okay, you're still in that with heavy rain coming up towards Elmwood, Logan, slap out Bryan's Corner, those areas. And some of the hail may eventually get up there. But right now, the hail threat is coming into Booker, and the heavy rain threat is around Darrozette. The rotation is being reduced just a little bit. This is some good news. So we'll come on down. Won't spend too much on the rotation just yet. But, okay. Notice our White Deer storm getting smaller a little bit as it comes through Pampa. So Pampa, you're on the edge there still. Catch some of that heavy rain, but it's pretty much moving to the east side around Highway 60 and north of there. We still might have some hail, and if we get any reports of that, we're going to let you know. Is that a live stream from that storm? Okay, let's take a look at our 806 live feed coming in. And I'm telling you, we still have a pretty impressive base. That's where tornadoes would form, but I've noticed the rotation tending to slow down. It's not very rapid. So we're not looking at imminent tornado conditions or really much of a concern right now. So we'll come off of that. Let's come back to radar. And you can just see that, White Deer, Skellytown, we can write it off. It's past you now. So from Pampa now out to Hoover and maybe Miami, that's where we'll track the remaining part of the storm. If it stays that intensity, we may have some concerns there. The rain has gotten stronger down on 287, but it's east of Claude. staying back to the northwest of Goodnight, that will be moving up towards Groom. So on I-40 there, Groom to Allen Reed, right now just below severe intensity, but if that, I believe it is anyway, if that gets stronger, we may have a warning there for the southern part, or say I-40 south of the storms that are up to the north. Okay, backing up a little bit. Okay, for Canyon Amarillo, well, moderate stuff. Not concerned about that at all. Just rain and lightning from Canyon down to Happy. The storm that Allen was on from Tulia has weakened, but he's found another one here. Notice what we have coming across Castro County. That storm right there. That's going to be rapidly approaching Dimmitt. Yeah, and also Dimmitt down to Sunnyside on Highway 385. So we'll have to watch that. This is